So this pencast is on exponents, and the first thing we need to do is define exponents. The first thing in defining exponents is to remember that multiplication is just repeated addition. So when we see a problem like 2 times 3, that really means 2 plus 2 plus 2. Well, if multiplication is repeated addition, then in order to get repeated multiplication, we use exponents. So exponents represent repeated multiplication. And we have two examples here. The first one says 2 to the power of 3. What that means is we're going to take our 2 and we're going to multiply it by itself 3 times. So 2 times 2 times 2. And then we just go 2 times 2 is 4, and 4 times 2 is 8. So 2 to the power of 3 is 8. In our next example, we have 5 to the power of 2. So we're going to take our 5 and multiply it by itself twice. So 5 times 5 is 25. So exponents just represent repeated multiplication. Next thing we want to do is look at the general form of an exponent. And we usually write the general form of an exponent as b to the power of e. The reason we do this is that b represents the base. Okay, so the larger number we call the base. If we look at our previous examples, 2 and 2 to the power of 3 would be the base, and the 5 and 5 to the power of 2 would be the base. The base is the number that you multiply repeatedly. And then e is called the exponent or the power, and it's the number that tells you how many times to multiply the base. So in our previous examples, 3 is the exponent or power in 2 to the power of 3, and 2 is the exponent in 5 to the power of 2. And it just tells you how many times to multiply your base. So now let's look at a couple of examples. The first one we have is 6 to the power of 2. So that tells me to multiply my 6 by itself twice. So that would be 6 times 6, which is 36. In example 2, we've got 3 to the power of 4. So that tells me to multiply the 3 by itself 4 times. So that's 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. Now when I do this multiplication, I've got some choices here. I can either multiply 3 times 3, which is 9, and then do 9 times 3, which is 27, and 27 times 3, which is 81. But an easier way to do it is to group them in pairs. We know 3 times 3 is 9, and this other 3 times 3 is 9. And then we can do 9 times 9, which is 81. In our third example, we have 9 to the power of 2. So that's 9 times 9, which is also 81. And in our final example, we have 1 to the power of 7. So that means I want to multiply 1 by itself 7 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, I really don't need to do the multiplication out too far because I know 1 times 1 is 1, and 1 times 1 is 1, and 1 times 1 is 1. So we can see that it doesn't matter how many times I multiply 1 by itself, my answer is going to be 1. And that would be true for any power. So 1 to the power of 9 would also be 1. 1 to the power of 27 would be 1. Because it doesn't matter how many times I multiply 1 by itself, I'm going to get 1.